He craves speed and adventure. I woke up and I was in Rome. I think frustration. It shows you how much he loved doing what he did. Rampage's kid just better hope that, health-wise, that the guy he beat up in an impromptu ad-lib situation gets his together.
Hey, it's Conrad the Mortgage Guy, and you're listening to Grillin JR with the voice of professional wrestling, Mr. Jim Ross. Jim, how are you, man?
Well, I'm getting over the jet lag, Conrad, but I'm kicking out best I can. That was a tough trip, boy. A lot of flying in a short amount of time. So the flights got all screwed up. That's a story in itself. So I woke up and I was in fucking Rome. And I was
Rome?
Yeah.
Why are you in Rome?
Mechanical issues.
Oh, my.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, we're glad you're back, man. What'd you think of the AEW presentation? My goodness, Forbidden Door in the books. What'd you think, Jim?
I thought it was a pretty good show. It was a lot of wrestling, and we had a huge crowd, legit, about 18,000. Set a record for that for that O2. O2's kind of run down. It was not as glamorous as I remember it being back in the day, but nonetheless, we had about 18,000 people there, and that was a nice start for the week.
Yeah, nearly 19,000 people. It actually broke the WWE's record there that they set back at Money in the Bank 2023. Nearly 19,000 folks in the house, and some glory shots of that crowd, man. They were hanging from the rafters, as Ricky Morton might have said.
Yeah,
you had a chance to watch all of the show, and of course, call a few matches. Of the matches that you didn't call, that you just had a chance to see, was there any that stood out? What stood out most to you? Was there one performer or one match that you feel like you want to shout out and give some extra love to here today?
Well, Toni Storm always delivers.
Oh, yeah.
I thought she delivered, and I thought it was one of the better outings for Mercedes Moné. So I enjoyed that match a lot. I enjoyed a lot. We didn't have any stinkers. So it was a good show. It's a lot of wrestling, but talents worked their ass off, and I thought it was well written, good order. I did 2 matches, including the main event. So it was all good. I had a good time. It was just travel was the worst travel I've ever experienced in my career. So that covers a lot of ground.
Well, we're glad you're back. We're also glad that you got to call. What a crazy cage match that was for a lot of reasons. Tanahashi's last match in the UK, and it happened on an AEW show. You were on the call. He's been the ace of Japan, for years and years. He was sort of the New Japan equivalent of John Cena. And now he's winding it down, doing a farewell tour. And you were on the call for his last match in the UK.
Pretty cool.
Pretty big moment for Tanahashi. Him getting the pin and all that. What'd you think?
I thought it was done right. I thought it was well done. The right guy won. The right guy took the pin, considering what you just described. But it was he and I he had that picture Bull put up there a second ago. He requested to take a picture with me. I didn't know how much exposure it was going to get, but he's the head honcho of that company, and he's just a swell guy. I met him at one of the shows a long time ago in Japan, and we became friends. And he speaks enough English to get by, and I speak enough Japanese to get lost. So it was good though. The show itself was a fun experience. I really enjoyed the talents worked their tails off without question, and so I liked it. I thought at one time I thought, well, maybe we're doing too much, but it worked out fine.
A lot of chatter online about the gummy bear spot and about the fork. Unbelievably, Jon Moxley went after Darby Allin's ear with a fork. I was going to say, I'm not even sure we can show that on YouTube. We'll find out, but What did you think, man? I mean, just when you think you've seen it all in pro wrestling, they turned the volume up even more here in AEW. What'd you think, Jim?
That's kind of the trend, Conrad. It's just what's enough? I don't know what enough is. That ear spot was shocking.
Yeah.
And good old Darby comes through again. Does the unthinkable. He has no fear of the little bastard. I can tell you that right now. He's a game day player, and he did good. He did the whole thing it's memorable. We're talking about it, but it was really good. My schedule. I was supposed to fly from Jacksonville to Philadelphia, and mechanicals and all this stuff. And I missed my connection because of that, and it was that was no fun. So I was flying. I don't know. I don't know how I ended up in fucking Rome. I don't know why. We have mechanicals, and so I flew to Rome and not Georgia. But so it was that part was really challenging, and I flew a lot of hours to get to work, but it worked out fine, and I made it. Took me a nap or two, and call it a day. That's what you do. You just gotta go. You gotta go to work.
Well, we're excited that you're back doing some work with us here today, and I want to ask you about another performer that everybody's talking about on the other side of Forbidden Door. Of course, I'm talking about Will Ospreay. This was a home game for him. He got a hero's welcome. He was on top of the cage, the entire crowd chanting along with him, his entire name. I mean, what a moment, what a visual that is. If you're watching with us over at grillingjr.com, I'm really glad he got this moment.
Me
And
too.
I say that because we know he's about to have a pretty major neck surgery. And I thought it was really cool that he was able to come out and say, I've got people in WWE that I've never met before in my life that have reached out because of this neck injury. And they've gone, quote, hey, if you need a doctor or if there's any questions that need to be answered, end quote, every single one of them are super lovely. And I wish them all the best. I really do. That's a quote from an interview that Will Ospreay gave recently. And I think that's, that just goes to show you that, hey, tribalism may exist with fans online and on Twitter, but in real life, man, this is a band of brothers. And when somebody's got a major neck surgery like that, that's going to get everybody's attention, isn't it, Jim?
Oh yeah. He's so over. It's not even funny. He's so over. It's not funny. And that's bad news for me. He's going to be out for a while. How long, I don't know. I don't know the severity of his neck injury, but anytime somebody says neck injury, you can count your ass as serious, especially in this line of work. It's like having a bad back or something. It's tough. So, but he's over. I can tell you that. Of course, he had a home field, as you said, he had a home field advantage. It was a big home game for him. And the audience, this may not be fair, but I think the audience primarily came to see him. I think he was the overwhelming crowd favorite, and he's beloved there. It's just too bad he's going to be off the line, so to speak. But he's a hell of a performer. I can tell you that. You could feel the love for him legitimately from that audience, and the results were, like as you said, we set a record, and that was wonderful. Good for the talent. This is a tough trip for those guys because they wrestled two or three times before the O2, so it was quite the experience for me. I had other than the travel, it was wonderful. The card was good. Talents worked their ass off. I was proud of all those guys and gals. So, in any event, it was a hell of an experience. I'm sure glad I got booked. I'm glad I got to go. We kind of started my assignment where I was going to do the battle royal, the cage match, and I'm glad we did. I enjoyed the hell out of that match. And then what else did I do? I did.
Did you do Hangman Adam Page and MJF?
I don't remember.
Hey, let me ask you about that. I think a lot of people were tuned into that. I mean, those are two AEW originals, the quote unquote homegrown stars. Yep. And it did look like at one point Bryce Remsburg counted 3 for Hangman Adam Page, but Somehow, some way, Hangman gets the win. He retains. He's still the central figure in AEW. And as you and I are recording tonight, they're going to be in Philadelphia in the old 2300 Arena. It used to be known as the ECW Arena. I can't wait to watch that. I'll be watching live. And I was watching live when I saw Tony Storm beat Athena. And even when I saw Okada beat Swerve Strickland. You and I are fans of both of those guys.
Yeah.
The rumor and innuendo is that Swerve is going to have surgery. It looked like they did some sort of an injury angle with him and Prince Nana. But Wardlow returned, and I know that he was a favorite of yours once upon a time. How pumped were you to see Wardlow back in action?
I was surprised. I didn't see him all day. Back in the locker room area, whatever. I didn't see him all day. So it was a surprise, but a pleasant surprise. He looks great. He's a good kid, man. He's a class act. He hasn't been in the pro wrestling business long enough to develop all those lousy habits. But I also heard, Swerve's not 100%. I don't know how bad his injury is or what, but it's not good news. We didn't come out of the event unscathed injury wise. Those guys all work at a breakneck pace. They work a little snug. I'm sure for a lot of fans love that. I love it, but I don't want to see anybody get hurt. And that's kind of how we left. I like I flew back with Adam Copeland. There were 2 or 3 of us on that flight. We flew from back home. We flew from London to Charlotte, and then connected in Charlotte back to Jacksonville. So a lot of flying, and boy, when your flights screw up, you can't catch up. You're kind of at the mercy of your airline. And I flew on American on the way back, and they did a good job. But boy, going over was the worst I've ever experienced. As far as getting to some place to go to work, tough, boy. It was a tough trip.
Kyle Fletcher was pretty tough in his win over Takahashi. It feels like he is in line for an Ospreay level push at some point. Kenny Omega was the man, and Ospreay's been the man, and a lot of people think Kyle Fletcher is next. Would you disagree with that, Jim?
Not really. He's positioned well.
Yeah.
And it looks like that's who Tony Khan's going to ride with for a little bit, at least one portion of the push, as we say. So it was he's a good talent. He's a good young talent. He's in good shape. He seems to be healthy, and anymore that's a commodity. So we got some real good young kids that are developing rapidly, and I'm proud of Kyle. He's a good kid. I hadn't heard a bad word from him or about him or whatever. He's a good kid. He's mature beyond his years, and a very talented kid. I like his work, and I like him.
I liked Bozilla. My first time seeing Bozilla from Stardom. She, of course, is the daughter of former ECW legend Ulf Herman. He was certainly a German wrestler and a lot of European matches through the years. Bozilla, man, she stood out to me in a major way. I know you've always liked the big guys. What'd you think about the big gal? I thought it made for an entertaining 4-way with Mercedes Moné and Alex Windsor and others. What'd you think?
I'd say it was entertaining. She was fresh. She was new. She's not overexposed, and she's going to get better and better. One would assume. Her dad was there all day, just to kind of, I don't want to say babysit, but to innocent father, and she was getting a hell of an opportunity, and she added to the presentation. I'm not saying she's a great worker because she's still green and young, but she was a nice addition to the card, I thought.
I thought Mercedes Moné had a terrific performance. I loved her entrance. I loved her gear. And I thought her selling in this really made her stand out. I thought it was one of her better performances we've seen in AEW so far. And I was excited to see Nigel McGuinness take off the headsets and strap on some wrestling boots. He got a shot at the world champion, Zack Sabre Jr. And they had a couple of UK legends ringside. How fun was it to see Marty Jones? I mean, that was a neat moment for AEW, wasn't it?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time with them in the afternoon. I met them through William Regal back in the day, and they helped train Regal back. When I learned that Regal originally got into business there in Blackpool because he wanted to be a comedian, and then he's a hell worker, good man. He's an addition, a positive addition to anybody's company, as he's showing now in and WWE. But yeah, those are guys. I was glad they were there, and I'm glad I got to spend some time with them and make them feel welcome. And it was just it was a positive experience. I like to see those old guys get the respect and a welcome back. And they were great. They like catering. We all like catering, but food on the road is daunting. But they did a good job visiting with the talents, and I directed a lot of talent to them to go meet them and thank them for being here. And they delivered for what they were supposed to do, just to be a PR guy, be friendly and talk to some of these young kids. A lot of kids didn't have a clue who they were, but some did, and they were very honored and proud to be associated with those two guys, because they were two of the great legends in UK wrestling history. And I like those old guys getting their flowers, because they're not going to have a lot more opportunities. But they were very happy to be there and felt very honored. They felt very respected, more importantly. So it was cool. Marty is known as one of the greatest of all time, and both guys, so are valued members of the wrestling community, and I'm glad that we got a chance to honor them a little bit. They got some TV time. That was cool. So it was all in all, Conrad, things like that made the show special and different, and it was a good situation.
Shout out to Johnny Saint and Marty Jones. Really cool to see some legends in the house. And it was also cool to see new tag champs. I guess Jeff Jarrett would call this a superstar tag team, because it's not a traditional tag team. But our new AEW tag team champions are Brody King and Bandito. I know you're a big Brody King fan. I am too. I think everybody loves Bandito. It's a unique pairing, but I wouldn't have called this. I think a lot of people expected FTR to walk out with the titles. The belts are off Hurt Syndicate. What did you make of that three-way, Jim?
I was a little surprised at the finish. I'm not against it. I am, as you said, I like big men that are athletic, and Brody King fits that bill. Bandito's is a kind of an unsung star, and he's got that big tattooed body, and he's athletic as hell for a guy his size. And a guy, a cowboy told me one time that athletic big men draw money, and Brody King's an athletic big man. So I was surprised at the finish. Didn't know what was going to happen, as I customarily do. Don't want to know. Don't need to know. So it was fun to see those guys have a nice cup of coffee with the title, and see how they mature and how they develop. It's going to be fun. It's good to get new guys a chance to step inside the spotlight. And it's fresh, it's different, and so I enjoyed that their outing, and they're good additions to the roster, and now they're getting a break. Let's see what they do with it.
I'm excited to see what's next for those guys, and I'm excited to see what's next for Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. This is a big time reunion.
Yeah,
so longtime fans loved seeing Edge and Christian back together again. They picked up a win over Kip Sabian and Kill Switch. I mean, I like this pairing, especially considering that we're about 3 weeks away from the big Toronto pay-per-view. Adam Copeland's on the poster. You got to assume it's going to be a reunion in the same town where both of these guys, as young kids, went to see Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6. They're going to be probably figured into a big time match at AEW All Out in Toronto on September 20th. This is cool to see, is it not?
Yeah, it's great. Those homecomings are fun, man. You see the twinkle in the eyes of the talent. Like these two guys have gone full circle. Like you said, they started out as fans and independent wrestlers as well, obviously. So I'm I was happy for those guys, and they had a nice tag match. You know, I think everybody kept waiting for Christian Cage to turn on Adam, and that didn't happen, which I'm glad it didn't happen. It wasn't a time or place for that. But the fans appreciated their work, and they had a good tag match. And I like their outing. I like their presentation.
I want to spend a little bit of time and talk about Jake Hager. I don't know if you saw, but he's been making some headlines. But before we do, I want to brag about our friends at Home Chef. You know, Home Chef delivers fresh ingredients and chef designed recipes, all conveniently to your doorstep. It really simplifies your cooking experience. And JR and I, you can tell when we like to eat.
Yes,
And
sir.
the users of leading meal kits have rated Home Chef #1 when it comes to quality, convenience, value, taste, and ease of recipe. Yeah, it's easy too. Whether you prefer those classic meal kits with pre-portioned ingredients, maybe you like the quick 30-minute recipes or oven-ready options, even your microwave meals. How about a dedicated family menu too? It turns out Home Chef has everything you and your family need for hassle-free, delicious dinners. They've got over 30 different options a week at Home Chef, and they even serve a variety of dietary needs. Did I mention it's more economical too? You see, Home Chef customers save an average of $86 a month on their groceries. And when meal planning ends up on the back burner, you got to check out Home Chef's new 5-ingredient meals. That's going to simplify your prep with super easy recipe steps using just 5 pre-portioned ingredients, and they're always fresh. And right now, for a limited time, Home Chef is offering our listeners 50% off and free shipping for your first box, plus free dessert for life. Go right now to homechef.com/JR. That's homechef.com/JR for 50% off your first box and free dessert for life. That's homechef.com/JR. Of course, you must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert.
Of course, why not?
Yeah.
They're a good company, and their ingredients are healthy. I like that aspect of it, especially I'm paying attention to what I'm eating. You know, I've lost a lot of weight through my various journeys and getting healthy and so forth. But that's a good company, man. If you haven't tried this system for any company, this is the place you start. This is the place it ends, and it's just a tremendous sponsor for us because they deliver, and it's healthy, it's vibrant, it's easy to prepare, just a good situation all the way around. So, if you're in the market for something along these lines, this is the one to go to.
Go check it out. You'll be glad you did. We love us some Home Chef, and we think you will too. Let's talk a little bit about Jake Hager. I don't know if you've seen this, but he recently sat down with our friend of the show, Chris Van Vliet, and he was trying to talk about what's next for his life. I don't know that you saw, but he recently went into the TNT Hall of Fame there in Waterloo, Iowa. If you haven't ever checked that out, you owe it to yourself to do it.
Right.
JR has been there. I've been there twice. I'll be back there next year. It's going to be a regular stop for me. I'm a big fan of what Jerry Briscoe and the rest of Gloria and the whole team are doing over there. But he just received an award that I guess he felt like capped off his successful career. He's announced that he's moving on from wrestling. He's gotten into the trucking business. Mike Chioda introduced him to a friend of his who had a pretty successful trucking business where he owned over 100 trucks. And now Jake's decided to start driving his own truck, and he's hired a driver, and he's got 2 trucks, and he's moving on. And he credits Dutch Mantel with telling him, you know, he needed to be able to use pro wrestling to help launch his second act. And
Right.
he's happy. I think that's great. And I know that you've got a long-standing relationship with Jake. He even told the story on Chris Van Vliet that you were once trying to recruit his roommate pretty heavily, but he was destined for the NFL instead. And
Dusty Dvorak.
tell us about your relationship with Jake and how that recruiting process went down and what y'all's relationship is like now.
Well, Chan was a big fan of Dusty, who was a star. He was All-American defensive tackle at OU. Got drafted by the Bears as a D tackle, and Jan was a big reason that relationship developed because she was a hell of a cook, And those kids, like any college kids, they didn't get that many home cooked meals. So they were at my house a lot. And I remember her telling, we walked into our living room and I was in my chair, as guys do. And he had his feet up on the table and she chewed his ass out for putting his feet on her furniture. And that's a vivid memory for me. I kind of chuckled under my breath because she was still the rule the roost there, especially when it came to the kitchen and food. So Dusty now is a broadcaster for ESPN and gets a lot of exposure, and his career is really growing. Uh, Jake was never a major pro wrestling fan. He didn't grow up a fan, so he kind of evolved into it. And the creative for him in the beginning, I thought was a little spotty. I think we were lucky to keep him as long as we did because he just, like I said, he wasn't truly in love with pro wrestling, but he became in love with it. He developed a relationship within the business, and I have a lot of time for him. He's a good guy. We don't communicate now that he's not on TV and he's not at TV as much as I'd like, and I'm sure he'd like too. Or at least I hope that's the case in his situation. Certainly is mine. So it was just a great relationship. Still is. Those are you want to keep those relationships. I was happy I could help him, and I'm proud of his accomplishments. He's a smart kid. He's really a businessman. Like this trucking thing is it's not the normal diversion for a pro wrestler winding up his career. So I'm glad he's doing well. He saved his money, and he's done well financially. So I'm really happy he's doing what he wants to do. He's building his own business. He's building equity into a business that's established in the trucking world. So just a good kid. Just a good old country boy from Perry. Of course, I used to tell him this all the time that you're always going to be the second toughest guy from Perry, Oklahoma, because that's Danny Hodges' hometown. They went to the same high school, different generations, obviously, and of course. But he's just a swell kid, and I'm happy for his success. I hope he sticks with it, and he can. I hope he manages his business well. I think he will, and it's it's quite the departure from pro wrestling to have your own trucking company, and I'm happy for him. He's a good kid, good guy, good father. And that's giving him some good advice. You gotta you use the pro wrestling business as a stepping stone or as a next thing to do, next step up. So I enjoy talking with him every time I see him, or he calls me, or I call him. Uh, he's a special young man.
I do want to ask you about this interview because there's some comments in here that Jake made that are, well, not too polite to AEW or specifically Tony Khan. He had a line that said something like this: after all the punk shit that went down, the boys got together and we had a meeting. This was the boys only, no office. Sting's in there, Show, Jericho, Brian, Mox, and they're all standing at the front talking us through this shit. And lo and behold, who comes in the room storming in? Daddy's little billionaire. And he's yelling at us because I think it was Dax and Cash that didn't want to come in. They didn't like the storyline, so they refused to come to TV that day. And he was like, listen, I'll put you in a 6-man 6 minutes before the show and you're going to do it. And we're all feeling disrespected. I still to this day wish I would have stood up and said a lot of things. You just told Sting that you're going to put him in a 6-man in 6 minutes and then you're going to honor him for his retirement. We became his little playthings. We had to wait outside his office. His storylines were very good at debuting, but he could never carry anything through. It got to the point where you couldn't tell him anything. He couldn't take criticism. He was fucking up, and we were all just having to deal with it. We had blood, sweat, and tears into that company, and we were all there at the beginning. We all had our careers behind us that helped build that company. And then we all had to just sit side by side and couldn't do anything because he wanted to run it the way he wanted to run it. I mean, he even goes so far as to say, he says once a day, every day, Jim, fuck Tony Khan. And I'm like, What? Where is this coming from? I'll admit, I don't really know Jake Hager, but this feels like a really odd response. I mean, what do you make of this outburst here after the fact? I don't follow this.
Frustration. I think frustration. It shows you how much he loved doing what he did, because he became a fan. Excuse me, he became a fan. As I said, he wasn't born a fan, and I find that ironic considering he and Hodge are from the same hometown. But I'm glad I'm really excited for this opportunity for him. I'm excited to see how far he could carry the ball. You know, he played football at OU. As I said, he was a defensive tackle. That's how he and Dusty Dvorak became so close. They're in the same room, so to speak. Both of them, and they both played a lot. Dusty was a star. Jake was not a star, but he was a very solid performer and played a lot. And at that time, OU was pretty competitive, unlike they are today. At least we'll find out soon enough what they got in the hope chest. So I got a lot of time for Jake Hagers of the world. He's a smart kid. He got a business degree, and now he's using it.
Well, just so you know, both of the members of FTR took issue with this, and I think Cash actually screenshotted a text to Jake, and Jake said, "Oh, my bad. Maybe I misremembered that. Maybe it wasn't you." But yeah, Jake was on a tear, man. He even started to point out things like, I think everything changed after Cody left, because when he was involved with it, and after that, it just kind of became a free for all. Young Bucks and Kenny still had a say in what they were doing. Chris obviously has a big say in what he's doing. Even Chris, he would tell me that Tony would not respond to his messages for 2 weeks. It became to a point to where either AEW is important or it's not. It just seemed like it was not to him. They stopped doing production meetings and they stopped doing anything to make the show timely. We would be waiting around to 5 o'clock to find out what they were going to do that day. What live television show does that? Only one with money behind it. That's interesting, because didn't we hear? I mean, listen, you were in WWE for a long time. Weren't they making changes right up until the show was on the air pretty routinely for years and years?
AEW you're talking about.
I'm saying WWE. Didn't
Oh,
WWE do that for years and years? We know
yeah,
WCW did.
forever,
Yeah, so
forever.
that's not a new
Yeah,
thing. I don't know. This feels like sour grapes a little bit from Jake to me.
I think you're right. I think he's frustrated,
Yeah.
and he didn't get all out of the business that he would like to have at the end of the day. I miss him being on TVs and things like that. He just, you know, I grew up. He grew up with me, and we got along great. But sometimes when it doesn't end the way that one would like for it to, uh, it it's tough to deal with. You get frustrated, and it's a mind game at that point, because that son of a bitch had all the physical tools he needed to be a huge star, a athletic big man. He's 6'5", maybe 6'6". I'm not sure, but he was a good dude, and I'm glad he's doing well. At least I hope that he's going to do well. And that was good advice from Dutch. A lot of times when you listen to those old timers, they give you some words of wisdom, and maybe they don't even know they're doing it. But certainly Jake has maybe found his lot in life that's going to take care of his needs and his family and his own mental health. So it's quite the change from being on the road as a wrestler to running a trucking company and even driving one of your own rigs. So, but I can see him being successful at it.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody hopes that Jake finds success after wrestling, but I don't know, man. Some of this stuff about AEW, I think in an effort to try to dump on AEW, he comes off looking worse for doing this, in my opinion.
Yeah, I relax. You know, I can give you an example. I was in the announcer's locker room, and somebody came in and said, "Tony wants to see you." And so Tony Khan, not Tony Schiavone, but and he was changing. What do you want to do? And so we were at the 11th hour deciding what matches JR is going to do, and that could be unsettling. But I'm a veteran. I've been in that role before, so I didn't think much negatively of it. You know, I'm supposed to be able to call a match. I'm supposed to be able to call whatever you put me out there to do. I've always said, just put it on the goddamn monitor and I'll tell a story. Show me the pictures and I'll put the words to it, and hopefully come out whole on the other side. So, and we did that in London. I was getting my match assignments right up until the show started. There were some matches, and I still didn't know exactly what I was going to do. I assumed all along that I was going to do the main event. That was kind of what I was told. And then I did another. What other match did I do, Conrad? You remember?
I thought you did the world title match because those were the last two matches.
Okay. Well, I didn't have any dogs. They were all good. There's good stuff to work for an announcer. Good stories are told, and I enjoyed that. I thought we had a good, solid show. I don't know. I didn't read because I was flying and all this and having access to Wi-Fi and all that other stuff. I had access to sleep, and that's what I did on the way back was sleep. JR was sleepy. But it was good. It was good. Dax helped me out a lot because my hip was just killing me. So if I needed a cup of coffee or some food from the hot bar at the Admiral's Club, I was in good shape. I had somebody help me out. It's just that my hip is just my sciatica. It's just miserable. I don't know if anybody out there understands what sciatica is, a sciatic nerve inflammation. But boy, I even this morning, I got up early today because we started at a different time. The mistake I made was going and sitting down on the couch and falling back asleep. I'm just tired as hell. So I should have gone over a day earlier and come back at a later hour. And it's funny, you start learning how to travel, and the rules change the older one gets. You can't go at the same pace. So I consider my voyage a success. I got to see the talents, talk to talents, advise talents that had questions. So it was a fun trip for me, except for the effing travel. But that had nothing to do with Tony Khan or AEW. This has to do with the airlines. All I know is that I dozed off again on the airplane, and I realized, what the hell are we going to Rome for? Why am I on a plane to Rome? So it was a connection. It was a stopover, but it was a lot of miles and a lot of hours, and you just deal with it, man. It's part of the drill.
Do you want to go back? Are you done going to the UK? Will you return, or was that your last trip?
Well, I'm being realistic about it. I'd like to go back. I want to go back. Whether I am booked or not remains to be seen. It's not my call. But my experience was pleasant, except for an area that Tony Khan or AEW couldn't control, and that's the travel and mechanical issues and changing planes and all this other stuff. So it was, but I had first class travel, and I'm not going to bitch about that. So I slept a lot. I know when I got home, when we finally got to Charlotte, I was wore out. It's funny how you get tired of doing nothing but sleeping or watching a movie or what have you. And so it's just one of those road trips, man. And you just deal with it. That's how I look at it. I can't fix it. I learned a long time ago, if you can't solve a problem, don't dwell on it. It just don't make any sense. So I hope I get to go back. I enjoy going to England. I don't dislike the food like a lot of guys do. I don't mind having pork and beans for breakfast. On those ugly ass sausages. So, but it was fun. I probably spent more quality time with the talents before, during, and after the event than I have in years, and that always is good for me. That's why I enjoyed those old timers being there, because they had questions and they had concerns and talking about how much the business has changed and so forth, but they had someone to listen to them that half-assed knew what he was listening to. So it was good stuff, man. I I had a good time. Connections were fine once I got to States. Me going through customs was a piece of cake because every custom agent knows who I got that black hat on, so I was recognizable, and they treated me nice. They knew I wasn't trying to confiscate something or sneak into the country, whatever. It was just a real positive, fun experience, and I'm glad that I was booked. That's a Tony Khan decision. I suggested to him, I said, why don't you want me to work the O2? And he said, I'd love for you to if you don't think the travel will kill you. I think he jinxed us. So it was a positive trip, excluding the talent issue, the travel issues. It was just wonderful. It even has some good food.
Let's talk a little bit about this weekend. I don't know if you saw, but WWE is doing a PLE this weekend in Paris, and the headline is John Cena versus Logan Paul. Will you check that show out this weekend?
If it doesn't conflict with football, I might.
It's going to conflict with football.
I'm watching football.
Well, let me get you to pick right now. Who do you think, John Cena or Logan Paul? Who do you think gets their hand raised this weekend?
John Cena. No brainer. He's on this farewell thing. So I think if he doesn't get the Duke, as the old timers used to say, then I'm not thinking right. And maybe I'm not. But I think Cena will go over no matter who he works with. Because you only got him for a handful more matches. Why would you beat him? And that maybe getting beat or winning is anymore in wrestling is overstated. I don't know. Everybody's got their opinion on that. If I were booking it, I would book Cena to go over. Simple as that. Especially against Logan Paul, who's a good young hand, but it's not going to adversely affect his growth or anything else, at least in my opinion.
There's a world title match on that show. Seth Rollins will be in a 4-way with CM Punk, Jey Uso, and LA Knight. If you had to pick a winner there, Jim, who would you pick?
Rollins.
There you go. Rollins retains.
Yeah, I don't think Rollins loses the title this quick. And those are four of their best talents.
Oh yeah.
So, but I think Rollins will get his hand raised. That's just a guess. I have no idea, obviously. That's how I would book it. Just keep building the champion and keep building the Rollins brand. And I said one time a smart ass remark that someday Seth Rollins might be as popular as his wife. And I'm eating my words down that deal because he's getting older, and the office obviously loves him.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they? I mean, he's
right.
He's doing the best that he can with injuries and so forth. So I thought that presentation where he came out on the stage and he got rid of his medical stuff and cashed in and all that was very well done. So I think with that going to start and relaunch, if you will, that he's the right guy for the job. And you don't beat a guy right away. Why would you? That doesn't make any sense to me. I will say that all those guys in that title match that you're referring to will do a good job of representing. And so I would go with Rollins, or if it were me, that'd be my guess anyway.
We're home stretching it on the farewell tour for John Cena. We know for sure that he's going to be a part of WrestlePalooza. They're going to be doing that on September 20th, the same day as AEW presents All Out. But that's also probably likely to be a College Game Day, same day episode for Pat McAfee. I imagine they'll do some promotion on Game Day with Pat McAfee because it's been confirmed that Pat McAfee will actually be in Indianapolis. And you got to assume in a wrestling ring on ESPN for WrestlePalooza. And the rumor and innuendo is that John Cena is going to be hooking it up with Brock Lesnar there. So we're counting down the days of John Cena's farewell tour. It's been revealed that his last match will be on Saturday, December 13th. I know there was some speculation that they might be looking at moving that back 2 weeks to go head to head with World's End. That is not the case. So December 13th on Peacock is where you'll be able to watch John Cena's last match. It won't be on NBC. It's going to be an exclusive for Peacock. I'm sure that's good for their business. While we're talking of John Cena, your old pal Jake Hager actually told Chris Van Vliet that John Cena once refused to put him over. He said, "Oh yeah, he absolutely refused to do it. I was told that was what happened because the original plan was I was going to beat him Monday night on Raw and not do the tease." He's talking about the Money in the Bank. "But I'm a young guy. I've been there for a cup of coffee. So what are you going to do?" But I'm not the only one that he's done that to. He did that throughout his career. I was surprised to see what happened with him in Truth lately, because usually he tried to take that glory. But I feel like this time he's the one who said, we better go with Truth and get him back here. I don't know. What do you make of Jake Hager, man? On the way out, he's taking shots at Tony Khan and John Cena. Goodness gracious.
He's got a lot of bent up frustration.
Yeah.
Quite honestly. He's not a bad person. Jake is not a bad person whatsoever.
No.
But he's very frustrated, or was very frustrated. Hopefully he's got that past him. And he's going to focus more on his creative energy to his trucking company. So, he's got a nice family. He's got a nice home in Florida. He's smart enough to live in Florida, so he doesn't have to pay state tax and saves himself some money. At his level of earnings, he was saving himself a lot of money with this tax situation that we have here in Florida. So, but he's out there right now. He's expressed. He's finally got a platform to express himself, and he's taken advantage of that time. I'll tell you. I haven't read a lot of that stuff. I haven't followed it as closely as I should. I don't know. It's just more. It's a guy's opinion, and I love the guy, so I'm biased. I'm honest about that. Us Okies stick together, and he's just like I said. He had a good run. Hell, he was a top guy for a while. He was a champ. So it just didn't end the way he would like to have, and part of that's just communication. So, but he got passionate about the wrestling business. Maybe too little, too late. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what. Maybe Jake is leaving wrestling with a hard on for wrestling, but if you've still got an itch for a hard on, can I recommend BlueChew? JR is entering rooms dick first these days. That's because BlueChew is not just a tablet. It's like a cheat code for your crotch. Stronger, harder, longer lasting. Like somebody gave your downstairs a pep talk and a gym membership. Serious business. I tried BlueChew and now my hog has a zip code and voting rights. Guys, we're not just talking about confidence. We're not just talking about performance. This is about your legacy, your third legacy. Give her group chat something to talk about. Nothing makes you more of a legend than a little BlueChew. Discover your options right now at BlueChew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. As always, get your first month of BlueChew free. Just use the promo code JR at checkout and pay $5 for shipping. That's it. Join BlueChew's mission to upgrade humanity one thrust at a time. Head on over to BlueChew.com for details and important safety information. And we thank BlueChew for sponsoring today's podcast and Jim's Wiener.
Hey, Conrad, you think Bull has anything to do with writing these scripts?
No, I know that's sent to us by we've got a great agency who handles BlueChew.
They do.
Shout out to Glenn. He does a good job with that, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so. It's creative and you listen.
Yeah.
That's a great thing about a commercial. It's a good commercial is that you listen to it and you retain some of the information. Our situation with BlueChew is the first, it's a free item. Your first order is free. I think that's wonderful. Free shipping is good. But what's even better than any of that is that the product works. So I can speak from recent experience. So,
roll title that.
It's good for jet lag.
Oh, wait. Hang on. Did you come off of a long European flight and you had a walk-on ready for you?
Yeah.
I love that. You got your own little welcoming party.
I do. I'm lucky. I got a good team. I did a lot of recruiting.
Have you already been? I know you're moving back to Oklahoma. Do you already have some blue chippers identified in Oklahoma, or where are we at on that?
That's a project that I'm working on.
Okay, so there you go, Jay. Folks, if you're listening, and I know we've got at least a dozen or two women listening, if you're in the Norman, Oklahoma area, we may have a position for you.
Yeah, I'm going to interview. I'm going to do some interviews. Just, you know, I might need to hire somebody to
handle
help me.
recruiting.
Yeah, to help me handle recruiting, cooking, cleaning, all that stuff. I'm right now in the process of. I think they're coming today to clean my place, which I really did plan very well on that one. I should have done that next week, but that's not how it worked out. So I got 1 o'clock today. My realtor's bringing housekeepers over to clean my place.
To take pictures.
Yeah, take pictures, all that shit. I'll just be glad when that process is over. We just start showing the house.
Yeah,
I think it's going to go up online at the end of the month.
Oh, so this weekend.
Oh yeah, it is. God damn, that's amazing how time flies, especially when you're an old bastard like me. So we're moving along with the project. We just need some interested buyers, and we'll get them because you can't find beachfront property at a decent price. And my condo is on the beach, and it's priced fairly. You know, it's funny, Conrad, how things worked out. My next door neighbor, they're elderly, and she was kind of the head honcho of this complex, and they bought a place in Jacksonville to move, and so their place next door to me is for sale. That's good. That's getting some traffic, so I'll get this little bleed over from that. And then there's 2 doors down is another old couple that's selling their place here at the complex. So I think I got good timing. It's just a matter of going through the pain in the ass stuff and getting everything cleaned up and so forth, looking around and destroying incriminating evidence for other things. So I'm excited about it. You know, I want to get back to Oklahoma. I want to go home.
Incriminating evidence, Jim. What are we talking about? You got some what's hanging around in your house? You got to get rid of.
Oh, paraphernalia,
Oh, I got you. Some of those left-handed cigarettes,
maybe.
maybe, allegedly, hypothetically. I
Yeah.
got you. Hey, let's talk a little bit about college football. You know, that's kicking off this weekend, and I know your Sooners are going to be hosting. Boy, you want to talk about a big challenge, the Illinois State Redbirds. You think you guys can survive the Illinois State Redbirds?
I think we're all right in that on that game. They play Michigan the week after that, I think.
Well, that's not going to be an easy one for sure.
No, heck no. But I'm so ready for football.
Oh, me too, man. And we're getting it kicked off in a big way. Saturday morning, we'll get Texas and Ohio State. That's 1 versus 3. Who do you got in that one, Jim?
Well, I hate to say it, but I got Texas.
Mm.
And that's very hard for me to share. But I wouldn't be surprised if the other team won. But it's a hell of a football weekend if you're a football fan. It's some great pairing, good booking, quite frankly, by whoever does that task. I don't know how do I look ahead and say, well, number 1 against number 2 or 1 against 3 or whatever. That's just good football. That's good TV programming. So but there's other good games. You know, I think LSU plays Clemson, and both of those teams are going to be good. But the Alabama Ohio State game is that
You mean Texas, Ohio State?
Texas Ohio State. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm still sleepy.
Alabama plays Florida State this weekend. Alabama's favored by 11 last I saw. Clemson is ranked number 4. They'll be hosting LSU, and that's going to be in prime time this Saturday night. There's only 2 games on Sunday. Virginia Tech and South Carolina will be heads up with WWE's Clash in Paris. But then I guess the real main event on Sunday night on this special Labor Day weekend is Notre Dame, number 6, coming to visit Miami at number 10. What do you think, Notre Dame or Miami, Jim?
Well, that's a tough one, Conrad. I think seriously, without me just straddling the fence and bruising my balls, I kind of like Notre Dame. They had such a great year last year. They got a good coach. They've recruited well. So I kind of think Notre Dame's going to get the nod there, but it wouldn't surprise me if it went the other way.
Well, we'll see what happens. I'm sure we'll talk about it, the good, the bad, and the ugly next week. You talked about some bruised balls. Well, since we've been recording, Swerve Strickland sent out a photo of his bruised knee. Looks like he has a surgically repaired knee. He posted it on one of his socials. You see that right knee wrapped up. So thoughts and prayers with him. And that is his driving foot. So I hope he's good to go sooner rather than later. Have you ever messed up your right leg like that to where you couldn't drive, Jim? That's got to be frustrating.
Oh, my hip. I've done it with my hip where I couldn't lift my leg and accelerate or brake or whatever. That's going to be challenging. It's funny when you get taken out of your game a little bit, you don't realize how valuable things are in your anatomy. So he's a tough guy, boy. He was hurting. I have so much respect for his performance in his match. He gutted his way through it, and he never let up. He didn't phone anything in, and so I have a lot of respect for Strickland. He's a valuable talent for Tony Khan and AEW without question.
I'm looking forward to it. His return. I've been a big Swerve Strickland fan, and I'm ready to see him back sooner rather than later. I know there's continued to be more rumor and innuendo about a possible WWE return for Chris Jericho. Those talks have been all over the place, and they've started to escalate a little bit because whenever there's a social media post about a potential WWE return for Chris Jericho, fans are noticing Chris Jericho's account is actually liking some of those posts. If you were a betting man, do you think Jericho's days in AEW are over, or is this just keeping his name out there until he returns? I ask because WWE on their YouTube channel, they've even been uploading some Jericho matches, but that's just good for business. I mean, if people are talking about it, why not upload that and make some money? So maybe we're reading stuff into nothing, but what do you think? Do you think Jericho returns to AEW or is he finished?
I really want to believe he's returning to AEW. He's a really important piece of the puzzle. He's good with ideas. He's good at helping talents, and he can still work. With all his experience, he's got great name identity. You can't just replicate that overnight. So I'd like to think he's going to stick with us in AEW, but who knows? Who knows? He's very particular about his creative, and I think that's something that tells me he still loves the business. He's smart. He has a lot of ideas. So, but I hope that he sticks with AEW. It's going to depend a lot on the creative and what he expects from the company, and how the company can help him continue to build his legacy. So, but it'll be a loss for AEW if Jericho decided to depart. In my opinion, he's just that valuable.
Yeah, I hope he sticks around AEW as well. I don't have any inside information, but it is interesting that it just becomes one after another. These little ideas that people are speculating. Oh, what if it comes back at the Royal Rumble? What if he wrestled this guy? What if he wrestled that guy? The fantasy what ifs. That's what makes it fun to have two different companies like this. I know tribalism's a real thing, but you talk about like 96, 97, 98. I loved seeing a talent on one show and then all of a sudden they're on the other show. That's been fun. We haven't seen as many go back to WWE, but we'll see what happens with Jericho. What I do know is you can now see JR and Grilling JR on TikTok. Yeah, JR is bringing his legendary stories from over 50 years in the business straight to your TikTok feed. That's right. You can now get bite-sized clips of Grilling JR on TikTok by following the show at Grilling JR. And who knows, we may even pop up live there from time to time. So support the show. It's totally free. And go give good old JR a follow on TikTok. That's at Grilling JR on TikTok.
Jim, who would have thunk that? Who'd have thunk that?
Look
JR on TikTok. Yeah, I'm ubiquitous. Oh yeah, big time.
The biggest story this past weekend, not just in wrestling or MMA, but I mean all the streamers all over the internet are talking about what happened with Rampage Jackson's son Raja, an independent wrestling show with Sicko Stu, who I guess is a longtime friend of Miro. I guess they've known each other for like 15 years. In real life, Stu's an Army veteran who got into wrestling in 2009 to deal with some PTSD. And Rampage Jackson's son, Raja, came to the show, and he was in the backstage area, and he was streaming live on Kick, which I guess is a streaming service for the youth, so a bunch of 12 and 15-year-olds.
Yeah.
And one thing leads to another, and there's a miscommunication, and now Raja is being investigated by the LAPD, and Stu is in the hospital hoping that his brain swelling subsides with broken teeth and broken orbital bones, and it became a criminal event. I'm sure you saw some of this. What do you make of all of this story, Jim?
It's regretful. It really is. No place in the business, that kind of shit. Rampage's kid just better hope that health-wise, that the guy he beat up in an impromptu ad-lib situation gets his shit together. But we hope that this kid that got hurt, the military veteran, can dodge this bullet as well.
I don't know what to expect with what's going to happen next, but I do know that we will link Stu's GoFundMe in the description for today's show. I feel like by now everyone has discussed this a million different ways, but I know Rampage Jackson put something out, and he says, "I feel bad about what happened to Sicko Stu. I don't want to condone what my son did at all. I'm a father, so I got to have my son's back, but I'm going to let justice play out and take its course. Ain't much I can do on that side but be a father. This shit put me in a bad mood. I feel bad about Sicko Stu and his family. His family had to see that shit. I just wish I could have been there, but I couldn't. Hopefully one day I can meet Sicko Stu and shake his hand and have a man-to-man with him. Y'all need to know that I don't condone Raja's conduct, and I hope Sicko Stu can forgive me as a dad for not understanding everything." That's about as stand up as you can ask for from Rampage, don't you think, Jim?
Yeah, I worked with Rampage on a couple of MMA shows back in the day. He's a nice guy, and he's level-headed. Just because he's got a name like Rampage doesn't mean he's out of control. He's a good fighter back in his day, but he got put into a very tough situation. He was right. He's got to have his son's back. But how far do you take that line of thinking? So let's just hope that health-wise, all these guys that are involved can come out at some point whole again. That's important.
Let's talk a little bit about the GoFundMe. As a reminder, these donations, which I think there was 2,500 donated from Chris Jericho, 10,000 from the YouTuber Mr. Beast. They are continuing to raise money. And this money will be used for uncovered medical expenses, recovery support, loss of income. And Dave Meltzer, who we know is a wrestling historian in a major way, said recently this is the worst thing he's ever seen in a ring.
Wow.
Would you agree with that? Is that the worst thing you've seen in a ring?
I haven't seen all of it.
Okay.
But just the circumstances and somebody going into business for themselves with heavy hands, with all those shots to the head, it's scary. It's really scary.
Well, let's talk about what's not scary, and that's jrsbbq.com. I know you've had a lot of fun. We've been talking about it for years here on the program, and this weekend being Labor Day, I know all the grills around the nation are going to be fired up.
Fire them up, baby.
It's probably too late for you to place an order and get it in time for this weekend, but football season's happening next weekend too, and you don't want to miss out. So place your order right now. Get one of two different types of barbecue sauce. They've got hot sauce. They've got a special mustard, a special ketchup. But my favorite is the all-purpose seasoning.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, and you also know that I loved your book. Business is about to pick up. It's available autographed. You can even get autographed trading cards and action figures. And I've told Jim 1,000 times, he just don't listen. He's giving it away. I'm telling you, he could. If you just get one of his cards and you send it off and you get it graded, you've got a multiple of your investment immediately. It ought to be illegal how cheaply and how affordably JR is hooking everybody up at jrsbbq.com. But
I'm just trying to help the economy, Conrad. I'm just trying to help the economy. I could charge more for some of these items, but we don't. It's very, very easy to, as I said before, it costs nothing to look.
That's right.
So go to jrsbbq.com and check out the site. You may see something on there that I know you'll find things that are affordable, but you'll also get some exclusive items And when I get back to Oklahoma, I'll be signing a lot more things because it'll be a lot easier as far as travel and shipping and all that stuff. So I'm excited about those opportunities. But our barbecue business has been good. You know, it's done well.
Check it out, jrsbbq.com. Hey Jim, since we're talking about food, I wanted to bring up to you. Have you seen all this this hoopla about Cracker Barrel?
Yeah, I heard they're in financial trouble.
Well, I guess there was a big, I mean, I don't know. I know that the stock has been on a downward trend for like 3 or 4 years now, but I guess they had a new CEO and they've tried to make some changes. From what I understand, they were spending, and again, I don't have it all in front of me, like $700 million renovating the inside. So it wasn't going to have the old country store feel on the inside. But I think what got even more outrage was not necessarily the new menu and the interior being changed, but just that the logo changed. Did you see this controversy, Jim? The logo changed and people were pretty fired up about it.
Read a little bit about it. It makes you know that their clientele they're emotionally invested. They're just it's just they got a loyal following, and I don't know how often you have or are or do, but I hit when I don't have a designation and I can make a choice. I'll go with Cracker Barrel. I like their menu and I like their service. When you walk in their little store area, it smells good. Everything's just spot on. So I don't know what the story is with the management, but something has has caused a stir and a change. And I guess we'd say, well, that's pretty simple to figure out. They're not selling enough product, and they need to raise their revenues. But the quality of their food has always been good, in my opinion.
Well, I wanted to get your take on the logo change. What they did is they removed the old guy in the rocking chair and they removed the barrel and they sort of kept the same font, but that's what it used to look like, the old country store. And you see there's a dude there leaning on the barrel, and they've changed it. And they just went with like a cleaner look instead. But it's a totally different logo. And I thought to myself, if we're really going to change the logo, maybe we could have changed the dude. Don't just swap the dude out. I mean, with like nothingness. Let's just maybe get another spokesperson. What do you think about one of these, Jim? What
Oh,
about that?
I like that.
I mean, I could.
That guy's available.
And you know what? We could probably get your back porch there in Oklahoma with a couple of rocking chairs, don't you think?
Oh yeah. Who says I don't have rocking chairs back there? I'm a traditionalist. I don't sometimes change for change's sake. It's not the right move.
Right.
But if there's trends that are identifying negatively, I get it. So I'm a I'm a fan of Cracker Barrel. I just hope they keep the chicken fried steak and sawmill gravy and things that I shouldn't be eating that I used to eat a lot more. So anyway, it's all good.
Well, I for one, I say let's throw JR on the Cracker Barrel logo. I'd be down with that.
I'm in.
Hey, I wanted to ask you, did you see Vince is in court this week?
No.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, but last month he was in a pretty big accident with his Bentley. It was actually the same day that Hulk Hogan passed away. He crashed his 2024 Bentley Continental GT, one of the last V12s, I think. And his attorney is Mark Sherman, and TMZ is saying that he filed a motion on his client's behalf on Tuesday to suspend and dismiss the reckless driving charge. This is all based out of that crash last month. And Sherman said in a statement that if this is granted, it would ensure a complete dismissal of the case, but still allow Vince to convey contrition and concern for the other drivers, which is his top priority. The hearing is scheduled for mid-October. As a reminder, this crash happened in July 24th, where he hit a 2023 BMW 430 and then collided with a median wooden beam guardrail. And I guess there was a Ford Fusion involved somehow. Everyone thankfully was wearing their seatbelts. No one was injured. That's what's important. McMahon has not commented on any of this, but I know that if anybody knows about riding with Vince McMahon and reckless driving, yep, there we go. Good old JR. What can you tell us about some of Vince's wheelman abilities?
Well, you want to damn sure make sure you got your seatbelt on.
Yeah.
He craves speed and adventure. And sometimes on an interstate, speed's not the way to go. So that's just his nature. He likes adventure, and that's the wrong place to put your adventure on a busy highway. So, but that was one of the things that when I rode with him the first time or two, I didn't realize that he loves speed that much, but he does, and he did. But his second chances are starting to run out, I think, as far as his driving is concerned. If I had his money, I'd have a driver, period. I'd call him up, come pick me up. Let's go do this, whatever. I can't see going to the Publix in a Bentley, but in any event, who cares? But I'm glad nobody got hurt. That's really the main thing. You know, he's got insurance up the ass, and he's got money to repair the arrears on these things. So, but it's challenging for if you want to ride with him and you're a little sketchy on speed and passing on the left, passing on the right, and getting even with another car in the next lane over and act like you want it, like you're a high school kid and you want to race. But that's just Vince. That's the way he likes to live. And so, you know, it's not my place or yours or anybody else to say, well, he's got to slow down. Well, he ain't slowing down. And just hope that he doesn't run out of chances.
Hey, let's talk a little bit about Vince McMahon's birthday. I don't know if you saw this, but on Sunday, the 24th, he turned 80 years old. And I guess last week, in advance of his birthday, he threw himself one of the biggest birthday parties around. As I understand it, he sort of took over New York City. I'm not probably supposed to stooge it all off, but I know that Jerry the King Lawler actually posted a picture of himself on social media at the event. So you see left to right there, you've got Miz and Maurice, Titus O'Neil, Jerry the King Lawler, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre. There was footage that came out last week that showed JBL and Bruce Pritchard and Jerry Briscoe. I mean, I don't know. I'm hearing there could have been, 200 or 300 people at this, and Vince apparently spared no expense. I don't know that I should share all the details, but have you been to Vince McMahon birthday parties before? What can you tell us about a big Vince birthday party?
He spares no cost. The best food, the best booze, usually music. So anything he would do for a party that in his own honor, you got to believe and should believe. I've been there. I've seen it. Now I wasn't invited to this party, but I'm not. My feelings aren't hurt. I'm good with it. It's hard for me to travel nowadays, Conrad. It's sitting so long in the same basic position when you've had hip surgeries. It's a killer. And but I didn't hear about that party. I've never seen that picture. To me, that's a JR exclusive as far as I'm concerned. Put that picture back up. I want to show you something that it's always been a pet peeve of mine. Look at Lawler's sleeves.
I knew you were going to say that.
God damn it. Shivani used to have the same problem. I rode his ass so hard and so long that he's finally getting his coats altered. So, but the King, his right sleeve would touch his knuckles if he had his arms straight, and I can't deal with that. Lawler and we got several appearances coming up too. I'll have to give Bull a list of those. We're still drawing. You go to autograph signing, and one of the biggest lines in the facility is the King and JR. And I'm so damn proud of that. That's because people are there that I know didn't see us in our heyday, but they're still supporting us. And because they usually got their dad or their uncle or grandpa or whatever with them, who's telling them stories about us or what we said one time or what we did, or they've met me before, or met Lawler and I before. So it's very rewarding, quite frankly. But so Jerry and I got several appearances coming up together, and I hope folks that are in, if we're in your area, I hope you'll come see us.
Absolutely. We hope everybody goes and sees you and the King. It's always a good time, and you guys are always so gracious with fans.
Yep.
This is a big deal. Vince turning 80. I mean, it's a big milestone birthday. Respectfully, we don't know how many more of those anyone can ask for at 80, but I think his mom lived to be older than 100. Were you at Vince's 70th or 60th? Do you remember there being any big milestone birthdays you can share with us? We just want to learn a little bit more about Vince.
Well, it's just he's not going to spare any expense. He's going to have a band. He's going to have great food, expensive booze, and he's the star of the show. So he's in his world. He's in his lane, and he drives as fast in that lane as he wants to. I think if Jen were here and we asked her that question, some of her happier moments were at functions like that, where we'd get together for a birthday or whatever, and he was just a gracious host. He loved to be celebrated, and but 80's pretty damn special. Guys that knew Vince back in the day, probably someone has said he won't live to be 80, but he's done it. And how he's done it is luck and good fortune, and he's got good DNA.
Well, I think a lot of people are surprised. I even when I came into the office the other day after Lawler had posted that picture, a guy in my office actually said, "Can you believe all those people were at Vince's birthday party?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed to hear that it was so well attended and he has so much support. I think the worm has sort of turned on Vince with a lot of fans, largely because of this lawsuit. But clearly, people who worked with Vince and had a long-standing working relationship with him. I mean, guys like Bruce and JBL and Jerry Briscoe. And we've even seen, other folks like John Cena come out in support of Vince McMahon. Do you think there's a day where we'll see Vince back in WWE, Jim?
Never say no. Never say never. He'd be a positive addition to the party, so to speak, if given the opportunity. I just don't know what he wants to do. I don't think he wants to get immersed in the business, but it'd be easy to fit him in. I saw somewhere online, somebody sent me something where they said that I was negotiating with WWE to go back. I hadn't heard that one. I haven't talked to them. No plans to go back. Not that I'm saying that out of animosity or anger, but it's not the right time for me to get more involved in business. But they could come to me with an idea that we haven't discussed, and I might reconsider. But I like being where I am. I like the schedule that I have, the freedoms that I have. I enjoy working with these young talents. I developed a good relationship with all those kids at AEW, and I'm happy where I am. I really am. It's not a lot of stress and pressure. And I just I signed a new contract for a year.
Oh, good for you. Breaking news here.
Yeah. We got that done before I left. So,
so it's official now. You're with AEW through next summer?
1 year.
Okay.
Next summer. Next August, I think it is. So, but I got fewer dates. I like that. So, I mean, I have a deal that's very desirable, to be honest with you, Conrad. It's just my schedule basically is going to be to work pay-per-views and assorted appearances on TV, but I don't expect to. I expect to do all the pay-per-views, and we'll see where that takes us. So I'm happy with my deal. I'm happy to go back to working with Tony, and Tony and I spent a lot of time together in London, and talking about my deal and what his plans were for me. I still figured in very strongly. and to go do the pay-per-views is quite the opportunity, and the fact that I'm able to recharge my batteries and not just drive myself to a nub. It's all good stuff, man.
Well, some more good stuff is saving money, and that's what we can help you do at savewithconrad.com. I don't know if you've seen, but we're seeing credit card balances rise year over year, quarter over quarter. It turns out we're over $18 trillion in debt here in America. And if you're like everybody else and you're struggling with credit card debt, let me go ahead and make life a little easier for you. Go to savewithconrad.com. That's what our man McIntyre did there in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. He had a baby on the way, needed a new car, but didn't want to take out a new payment. So he went to savewithconrad.com. We were able to show him how to use the equity he built up in his house. He knocked out the car. He got rid of all the credit card debt. He skipped 2 house payments, and his payment still went down more than $1,000 a month. How can that be? How can he get another car with a cheaper monthly payment? Well, savewithconrad.com. You see, once you owe this debt, it's up to you how to pay it back. Doesn't it make sense to get the best possible rate and the greatest possible tax deduction with the cheapest monthly payments? That's what we can do for you at savewithconrad.com. He saved over $1,000 a month, not $1,000 one time, $1,000 this month, $1,000 next month, $1,000 the month after that. He gave himself a raise, and you can do this too. Keep more of your own money right now at savewithconrad.com. Let my team run the numbers for you. It's no cost and no obligation. And if we can't help you save money, we won't waste your time. Find out how much money you can save right now for free at savewithconrad.com, and do it with the peace of mind of knowing that you've got a 3-year guarantee. If interest rates improve at any point over the next 3 years, we'll hook you up, throw you a new refinance without charging you a whole new set of lender fees. That's going to give you the peace of mind of knowing you've got the best deal possible for your family right now, but you won't waste money later. What are you waiting for? Find out how much money you can save right now for free at savewithconrad.com. NMLS number 2129, equal housing lender, savewithconrad.com. Jim, that'll put a button on it this week for us.
Yeah, I tell you, Conrad, I said this before on our show, especially for young marrieds or people that are trying to get over the hump, have a plan.
Yes.
Have a plan, have an idea of where you want to be, what you want to do. And that's what savewithconrad.com can do for you. I was talking to on this trip to London. There's somebody on the.
You were talking to Dax.
Yeah, I was. That's who it was. He's very excited about his opportunities through your company, and I'm glad that you're doing such a service to these guys, and you do the same thing for a civilian, shall we say?
Absolutely.
So it's good stuff, boy. I'm happy that you're taking the time to not only to service these accounts, but to educate these people that you got to have a plan. You just can't be like a junkyard dog used to say, come to work like a cabbage, all head, and no rear end. So it's good, and people can trust you. That's the thing about it, is you're trustworthy, and you're educated, and you're knowledgeable, and you give a shit. So if you want somebody to help you with your finances that gives a shit, Conrad's your guy.
I appreciate you saying that, Jim. You know what today is? Today is my 24-year anniversary in the mortgage business. August 27th, 2001, where it all got started for me. It was a big day, and I'm excited that we got to record this episode and brag a little bit. I'm excited for Dax and his family. I won't say exactly what I'm excited for. I think there's a privacy thing, but I'm real excited. But they have given me permission to mention that, hey, I've done the loans for FTR and Dustin Rhodes and Becky Lynch and Nick Aldis. I mean, it is a who's who inside the wrestling world of who we've been able to help, but we can help you too at savewithconrad.com. And we hope if you haven't already, you'll make plans to join us next week. Jim and I are going to start recording a little differently when he returns to Oklahoma. And I think we might only have what, Jim, like maybe one more Florida podcast before you're back in Oklahoma.
Maybe 2, but
Okay.
not many. I got to sell this place, and everybody that I'm associated with real estate wise they're very optimistic that it's going to sell quickly, because you can't find beachfront.
Right.
They're not making any more of it.
That's right. There's only one front row.
That's right. So I'm pumped about the possibilities, and I'm even more pumped about getting back to my. I got my one granddaughter just graduated from. She's got she's an RN now, so she's doing well. She's got married, so things are changing in my world, and I need to keep up with the change and spend more time with my family. And for all these years, 50 years in wrestling, you miss a lot of family time. And I'm planning on catching up as quickly and as efficiently as I can in that matter. So it's all going to be good stuff. We need to stay tied to our families as best we can. And when you're, there were years, Conrad, that I was never home on Christmas or Thanksgiving.
Man,
because we had Cowboy was a big traditionalist as far as we're going to be in the Superdome for a big show on Thanksgiving. We're going to be in the Superdome or something like that. So it's just a time. It's time, and I've flirted with issues health wise that I need to get smart and catch up on, and that's what I plan on doing. And I'm glad I kept my house in Norman, and it's nice enough for me. You've been there.
Oh yeah, it's a great house. You've got a great place there on the beach. And Jim, I don't know if you saw, but they've announced the pricing for WrestleMania tickets next year.
Yeah.
And you could get JR's beachfront condo on the beach in Jacksonville, totally remodeled, brand new HVAC units, professionally decorated. I mean, it's a badass place. Or you could get 10 front row seats to WrestleMania.
Wow. That's amazing, isn't it?
$70,000 per ticket if you want to sit front row and you want to go to both nights.
Golly. Well, good for them. Good for the business. As we've said here before, and I know it's cliche as hell, but high tides raise all ships.
No doubt.
So I'm happy for those guys if that's what they're getting. And the thing about it is, it seems to be that the concept seems to be working. They're selling lots of tickets, and as I said, high tide raises all ships, and so some of that money is going to trickle down to other wrestling entities, and so everybody gets a piece of the pie. Your slice might not be as big as you want, but there's the pies being baked.
Well, there's no doubt about that. And we hope you'll be with us in time for the baking next week. If you haven't already, go make plans to join us live by going to grillingjr.com, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications bell. And as always, you can be a part of our live studio audience when you go to adfreeshows.com. Want to give a shout out to Coach Rosie and the rest of the gang who hung out with us today during our live studio audience. And we're fired up, man. It's going to be a fun year as we get ready for football season this weekend. Hope everybody has a safe and happy Labor Day, and we'll be back next week right here on Grilling JR with the voice of professional wrestling, Mr. Jim Ross.
We appreciate your business, everybody, and your support. It's very important to know that we can contribute to a little bit of your entertainment, information, things of that nature. So you're going to see a lot different look. Conrad's set is cool as hell. It's going to be, I'm sure it's going to get even better. You won't be seeing my guest bedroom shot that often, but nonetheless, I'm very proud to be associated with Conrad and his company, and all his people. Dave Silva does a great job for us. They're going to be visiting me in Oklahoma to get my studio there set up.
Yes, sir.
So we're planning on growing. We're planning on getting better at what we do and how everything looks. So there's only so much you can do with two dudes like Conrad and I. We're not going to win any beauty contests, but we will entertain you. We will entertain your ass, and we will also give you some information that you might not have heard or questions you want answered, things of that nature. So I'm very excited about the growth of our company with Conrad. So I hope you guys will stick with us and grow with us. Tell a friend about our company, our product. And we plan on continuing to grow and to change with the times. So it's good stuff, man. We're in uncharted waters to some degree, but we know what we're doing, and we appreciate you guys' support very much. It's we're very grateful. I mean, I'm sincerely grateful for your support. It means a lot.
It sure does. And we thank you all for joining us today, and we'll see you next week right here on Grillin JR.
Take care, everybody. Thank you.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what adfreeshows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-free shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that adfreeshows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. adfreeshows.com.